Hello and welcome to Giant Mess, a sloppy sports and entertainment comedy show that covers the New York Giants, the New York Mets, movies, TV, and a whole lot more. It's hosted by a giant mess. That's me, the real cinch, Neal Lynch. I'm an Irish-Italian-American who graduated from a Catholic high school but is not Catholic. And then I earned a couple of overpriced degrees from a college known for producing doctors and lacrosse players. Sounds exciting? Great, because I didn't become either of those. Instead, I like to tell stories and make the laughs. You can leave a voicemail at 862-248-1986. That's 862-BIT-1986. And subscribe to Giant Mess on YouTube. It's you can search for Giant Mess or Real Cinch. Real Cinch on Twitter and Instagram. Giant Mess on Facebook. And be sure to subscribe to Giant Mess wherever you listen to your podcast. Apple Podcast, Spotify. Name a goddamn podcast provider. I'm on it. On today's episode, we're going to talk about me finally selling my POS car. And I'll talk about the new car that I got. Ooh, it was free. Whoa. We'll talk about Dwayne Haskins tragically losing his life and how things could have been different if he were drafted by the New York Football Giants. Gilbert Gottfried died, and so that made me think about his turn as the voice of Iago in Aladdin and the weird disclaimer that you get when you're watching it on Disney Plus. The 1992 animated feature. We'll briefly touch on the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. Elon Musk wanted to buy Twitter for $44 billion, which is Looney Tunes. I'll talk about my surprise Easter trip down south where I scared the poo-poo out of my mama. We'll dive a little bit into the NFL draft, talk about the passing of Ray Liotta, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Where did we go wrong? More school shootings, which is just unreal. And then I spent the latter half of May down in South Carolina with my 3-year-old daughter, my niece, my nephew, the family. Also talk a little bit about Stranger Things Season 4, Top Gun Maverick, Jurassic World Dominion, the new job that I started, and a little bit about Father's Day and the predicament that most single parents are in when they have to work and their kids' school is closed. It is a circus. And a lot of cool, surprising things happen that send the fear of God throughout your body. So with that, buckle up, Buttercup. Time to go for a ride. So in April, I sold my car. Finally, the Ford Fusion. Piece of garbage. Just an absolute awful piece of machinery. I can't believe we bought it, first and foremost. I don't know what I was thinking, because I remember we went in a test drive. We went to the dealership, and it wasn't even a dealership. It was literally, I don't even call it a flea market. It was literally on the side of the road, like a popsicle stand, like a taco stand, like the frozen banana stand from Arrested Development. That's what was on the side of the road. And it was like all these cars kind of parked like it was a tailgate situation. So that should have been the first red flag. And so this is August 2018. We're about to have the baby, pretty soon. So we're like, we probably need 2 cars. If you take your car to work, you can't be dropping me off at the train station and picking her up. And then I got to pick her up and drop her. It's like, we just get 2 cars. I'll get a car that can take me to the train and back. The train is literally less than 3 miles away. So it just needs to get me to the train and back. I think that was part of it. And it was like, our budget was like, we can't be spending $20,000, $30,000, even $10,000 on this car because we're not going to be using it that much. It's going to be go to the train and back. So it's like to find a used car for $8,000. Even that was a stretch. I remember driving it and I was like, okay, doesn't really accelerate. That's fine. I'm not going to be any like major police chases. Hopefully when the apocalypse hits, we're in the Infinity because we had the Infinity at the time, and then ex-wife crashed it and totaled it, and we had to get a model. Anyway, my ex-wife is a horrible driver. I feel like I'm allowed to say that. She's been in 2, 3, I don't know how many accidents, multiple parking tickets. I think I'm allowed. Let the record show my ex-wife is a horrible driver. Anyway, I remember I made a wrong turn. I tried to back up, and it's like backing up in that car, no rear cam because it's a 2011, 2012 car. So it's like CD player, that level car. Rear camera assist, no, that doesn't happen. So like I almost got in an accident just on the test drive trying to back up because I was like, first of all, you're looking back and there's the headrest is in the way. And then the back of the car is up, kind of a raised tail. So you can't really see anything below that. So yeah, I probably should have known then that it was bad news bears, but I was just so eager to get my own car and being so excited about it. And then we ended up spending, I can't even put a fucking number on it. If I had to guess, we paid almost eight for it. Definitely spent that or more on repairs and maintenance. And we only had it for less than 4 years. We drove it. I mean, when we got it, it had maybe, I want to say 72,000 miles. And we sold it and it was like 79,000 miles. We put on less than 10,000 miles on that stupid of scrap metal. And spent more in repairs and maintenance than we did to actually acquire it. And I cannot believe when we did sell it that we were able to sell it for as much as we did. Still in disbelief. I mean, like the power steering was going. Everything was going. It's just like computer problems, which I didn't even know there was a freaking computer in the goddamn car. Just like wouldn't accelerate. Like I remember I could stomp my foot on that gas pedal. I could stomp my foot on the gas pedal and it'd be like, all right, I'm going to go eat a sandwich. I'm going to pay my taxes. I'm going to watch Ken Burns documentary. And we just hit 60 miles per hour. It's like, that was pretty bad. I can't even begin. Like the laundry list of, I had to get new tires, new brakes, a new side view mirror, thanks to my ex-wife. A new hood of the car, new windshield. I think we ended up selling it for like a little over $5,000. I thought I'd be lucky to get 2. So, and I'm sure after a week, they were like, we got bamboozled. Yeah. So that was part of the divorce agreement. I sell the car. We split the proceeds on that. And then I got the Mazda CX-5. The car we got after the Infiniti got totaled. It's interesting to see how everything played out. Like we got the dream car and like when we went to get the Infiniti, it was 2016, like summer of 2016, late summer. I was gonna say like Labor Day 2016. And it was when we went to get it, we were like, we had all these considerations in mind. Like, well, we should probably get a third row because like when our kids have their friends, we want to make sure we fit everyone when we're going to soccer practice. And then the gods were like, "Oh, that's rich. Guess what? Fuckface. You're gonna be divorced after less than 5 years. Not a second kid, and your wife's gonna total it." So when she totaled it, we got and by the way, it was not like when I say totaled, it's weird to say when you hear the word totaled, you think it's like you need the jaws of life to get out of that situation. No, that wasn't the case. It was, she was slowly coming to an intersection. It was a red light, and I guess Bree was a baby at the time, so Bree was making a fuss, and so she looked back towards Bree and just ran into the car in front of her. So, and I didn't even realize that we had a lawsuit because of that. We had an ongoing lawsuit that had was going on for years, apparently, for like the length of our marriage, like 28. So this happened April 2019. I logged on to our insurance company website, and it was like, first of all, the notifications and messages that you get and alerts are just like, is this an alert? Like, why is this an alert? I don't understand. Anyway, it's like, oh yeah, it's an ongoing lawsuit. I was like, I probably should have looked into this. Like, why didn't I just, we never talked about it. Like she never brought it up. I must have never noticed it. And it's like, for her to not tell me there's a lawsuit, like that's kind of crazy. Anyway, we ended up getting the Mazda CX-5. It's a smaller car. Doesn't have the third row. I don't think. No, it doesn't. And, it's fine. Can't take a corner like I'd like. It does the job. Although now I'm hearing and then the ex-wife went out and got a Range Rover. I know I don't want this to be about her. I don't want this whole show to be about her, but goddamn, dude, a fucking Range Rover. We're talking I looked up the standard MSRP for a Range Rover. It's like $90,000 to $100,000. And you were bitching about how I took a pay cut for my job and then how I spent. Okay, no. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go down that road. I'm not going to go down that path. You're better than that. All right. So yeah, now I have the Mazda CX-5 and it does the trick and I got it for free. So you can't complain. Although the brakes, I can hear the brakes every time I brake. And it sounds like I can hear the wheels somehow when I'm driving with the windows down. So probably have another, cannot believe, like, whatever. Dwayne Haskins got hit by a car or a truck and died in April, which you think about how things, you talk about alternate timelines and alternate universes. You know, I remember when 2019 draft, when Daniel Jones was drafted, I thought that the right choice was Dwayne Haskins. And I caught a lot of shit from people because I thought, well, Dwayne Haskins, he is a Giants fan. He grew up as a Giants fan. And so maybe that was extra impetus to perform well. And, you know, my friend from high school was like, no Ohio State quarterback ever good in the pros. And I was like, I think we're going to regret this. It's going to come back to bite us. And of course he went to Washington and I was like, now it's really going to bite us in the ass because now we have to face him twice a year and he's going to beat us twice a year. And you know, you start to avalanche and snowball. But what if the Giants did draft Dwayne Haskins? Is he still alive right now? I don't know. It's kind of it's definitely an absurd question to ask, but it's hard not to think about. You know, what if we didn't go with Daniel Jones? What if we went with Dwayne Haskins? You know, and he still did what he did with Washington. You know, we would now be on another quarterback. We wouldn't still be with Dwayne Haskins, I don't think. But again, we're a different organization than Washington. Not to say that we're a better run organization than Washington. I mean, shit, they went to the friggin' playoffs. What was it? 2 years ago. Yeah, because the Eagles tanked. Thanks, Doug Peterson, you shithead. But I don't know. You know, R.I.P. Dwayne Haskins. But you know, if he's with the Giants, does that happen? You know, is he treated the way he is? Not to say the Giants organization has been a bastion of of excellency, but you got to think that they would treat their young talent better, but probably not. Gilbert Gottfried died, which is sad. I just watched with Brie. Aladdin, the 1992 animated Aladdin, and Gilbert Gottfried plays Iago in that movie, or he's the voice of Iago in the movie. And when I turn it on, there's a disclaimer before the movie. It's like, we are aware of the negative depictions and stereotypes in this movies. It was wrong then, it's wrong now, but we feel like instead of editing it to eliminate that or, you know, modifying it to fit today's standards, we're going to let this serve as a lesson or something like that. I was just like, okay. Like, you know, there are certain points where it's like, you know, and again, this is white guy talking. So, you know, take it for what it's worth. You know, understandable that, you know, there are probably a good chunk of the audience out there that's like, you stupid white cracker. But I would never have picked up on any of that until someone pointed it out. So that's how white I am. And then I think we watched the live action Aladdin after that. And I was like, first of all, Robin Williams as the genie in the original Aladdin is off the reservation. Like, how much speed, coke, and meth can you be on at once? And but then you watch the new Aladdin, you're like, okay, I get it. You see the differences and you're like, okay. And is that what is going to happen with a lot of these older movies? It's like, let's just remake it so we can eliminate what, you know, all the negative happened with the first one. I don't know. And, you know, I've talked a lot about this divorce that I've been going through and how painful it's been and all that shit. But at least we're not Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Ha ha. Whoa, dude. Whoa. But again, it's like, I think about Johnny Depp and hearing what Amber, I didn't pay that much attention to the trial or any of or most of the accusations or anything back and forth. You know, a lot of people saying like this is a huge step back for the Me Too movement and whatnot, because Depp won the verdict and whatnot. And it's just like, I think that's just fucked all around. Like he was doing coke and whiskey and all this stuff. And it made me think of, but then she's like shitting in his bed. And I was like, oh, how long is that going on? Like, neither of us shit in each other's bed. Neither of us was, we got in some pretty nasty fights, verbal altercations, never physical, but I think each has a point. Like, okay, Johnny Depp was just constantly on coke and like doing like drinking whiskey and like, and like passing out on the floor and like, how old are you? And then Amber Heard is like goading him and baiting him. And like, I don't know. It was just a messy situation all around. So it's like, at least we're not them. Although the more I think about it, it's like, would it be nice to get my day in court? Just be like, and you see what she did there? And you see what she did there? And that? And also that? And also that? Do you see that? Do you hear that? And just having some judge being like, you're right, Neal. It was fucked. I'd be like, and ascend to the heavens. Be like, my job here is done. God bless everyone. But that never happened. Elon Musk also in April wanted to buy Twitter for $44 billion with a B, which is Looney Tunes. I'm not the kind of person it's ironic because I see that on Twitter a lot. I see that a lot from tweets from people being like, tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich, because they're just going to spend that money on bullshit like Twitter, like buying Twitter. Why would you buy Twitter for that much money? There's no way it's worth that much money. No fucking way it's worth that much money. Can you imagine what you could do with $44 billion? What I would do with that? Oh, I don't even have a game plan for it yet, but I know I would spend it a lot better than Elon Musk buying Twitter. Twitter's like dead last on my list of things to purchase for $44 billion. Dead last. But it's curious to see how the wealthy get wealthy and, where they're getting their revenue from, their wealth from, and how they're spending it. And it's just like, I believe in a capitalist society, but damn, it's hard not to look at some of these tweets and some of the messages you see about what the rich are spending their money on. You're like, oh, that could have gone to something way better. Oh, freedom of choice, freedom. What a concept. Oh boy. Easter, I ended up doing a surprise trip down to South Carolina. I drove down there, did the overnight drive, which I'm a big fan of because it tests my will and my intestinal fortitude, and my ability to stay awake, which I've done it. It's not a problem for me to stay awake. Like I just drink coffee or I get like a energy drink and listen to entertaining podcasts. Usually Joe Rogan. If you listen to like a Joe Rogan podcast, you only have to listen for the 10-hour drive. I can get there in less than 10 hours if I go overnight because there's zero traffic. So I can listen to, it's literally like 2 Joe Rogan episodes and then I'm there because this episodes are like 4.5 hours. Everyone bitches about my shit being like 2 or 3 hours. His are 4. Anyway, drove down there, but I told my sister, I was like, listen, don't tell anyone else, but I'm driving down there because, I don't have Brielle for Easter this year, unfortunately, which the holiday schedule is a whole nother thing. Like, it's just, please don't get married and divorced if you have a kid. Just stick it out. No matter how much you hate your partner, just stick it out. It feels like it's easier. Because like this whole holiday schedule, like I can't imagine what is going through her head, the 3-year-old's head. Because like she has no idea of concept or time. Like trying to get her to understand time. It's just like I literally I cramp up. Like it's just, I'll say, okay, well, she goes, is mommy picking me up today? And I go, no, mommy's not picking you up today. I'm picking up today. Mommy's picking you up on Friday. So today is Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday. And the day after is Friday. And so she'll go, okay, so now mommy's picking me up now. Like, oh yeah, these words don't mean anything to you. Okay. So, I didn't have her for Easter this year. Because her mother had her for Easter. Who knows what they did? We don't talk. April was a tough month. Yeah, because that was on the day of my niece's birthday and my sister's wedding anniversary. So it's a double whammy. I had Brie and I remember this is the week after Easter. So I went down to Easter, surprised my mom. I got down there at I must have driven. Well, I was unemployed at the time. The amount of interviews I had job interviews over that time frame. And the amount of hoops that you have to jump through. Just don't get fired. Don't ever get fired. Don't ever quit your job. Just keep your job, no matter how much you hate it, because interviewing for a job stinks. I can't even begin to tell you the number of interviews I had, and the number of rounds of interviews I had, and the number of hoops I had to jump through, and the number of people I had to talk to, all for them to be like, not a fit. So sorry. It's like, this isn't fucking, like, what is this? Harvard? This is not Harvard. You're not Google. What is happening? Anyway, so I didn't have Brie for Easter. I drove down during the day because I don't have a job. I didn't have a job. So I get there. It's dark and it's late. And I don't think my sister's back with her family yet because they were in I think they were at Universal Studios in Florida. So they were driving back from there and they got back after I did. So I get there. It's late. It's dark. It's like 9-10 o'clock. And I pull up in my sister's driveway, and then my mom's house is in the back. So I walk around, and then I go up to the door, and I go boom, 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 super loud knock on the door, and I've never heard my mother this scared in her life. She's just like, "Who is it? Who's there?" And it's like if she were like an old school Southern grandma, you would hear the click of a shotgun. Like I just watched X. That movie from A24 about like the people shooting a porn on a farm that turns into a bloodbath. Anyway, and like, you know, old people, rural America, like who have lived there for a while, they got a shotgun. So if she were true blue Southern, tried and true, she would have had a shotgun at the ready. But she was just like, who is it? Who is there? And like, I think she might have said, I'm calling the cops, or that was definitely on her mind, that like to call the cops. And then I said, it's your son. And she was like, what? And then you hear the latch unlock and the door open, and she just stood there like she'd seen a ghost. Like she didn't know how to process what was happening in front of her face. So, but ultimately she recognized, this is my boy, and let me in, which is nice. So that was fun. But that following weekend I had Brie, and we were at the playground. I went to post some stupid joke because our apartment complex where I live is Lord of the Flies meets like, I don't know what, because we were at the playground, and, you know, obviously it's spring, so the weather's not as nice, so not as many kids out, but like it's mostly families, mostly Indian families, and the Indian families, the Indian kids always have their Indian parents in tow, but if they're not around, it's all other kids of other ethnicities and races and whatnot, and their parents nowhere to be found. Hence Lord of the Flies. Like, wouldn't be shocked if I walk out tomorrow and there's just skulls on stakes. But so we go to the playground. There's no one at the playground. And so, but there are toys. Like, I guess this is kosher. Like, kids can just leave their toys wherever, all over the playground, all over like the lawns. And it's just like, there's just toys thrown about, but no kids. And there's no one else. There's just me and her. And so I just was trying to make a joke about like, so like a bomb went off, or it's the apocalypse or whatever. It's just like, what the hell's going on? And so I go on to Facebook to post it, and I see a story, and it's a picture of my now ex-wife with her college boyfriend. And it's a recent picture, and they're at Hamilton, the fucking musical, a musical that I went to see with her before, and she's gone to see it again, and now with her college boyfriend. But anyway, so I went full scorched earth and was like, well, I'm blocking you, and I'm blocking everyone that is associated with you. Because I'm officially a 16-year-old girl, apparently. I don't even think 16-year-old girls have more maturity than I do, I'm pretty sure. I would say like a tween would have more rationale and logic than I do most days. So yeah, I went full scorched earth, and so that was pretty bad. And so not on the greatest of terms. So that whole let's be co-parents and best friends, off to a bumpy start. The NFL draft happened, and I feel like the Giants have done good. You know, it's the first one without Gettleman. So we have Joe Shane and Brian Daboll, and I'll get into that. I'll do my quick take on that in another ep. But got to feel good about their prospects. I think I was a Gettleman apologist for I don't know if apologist is the right word, but I wasn't like a full on supporter, but I was also like, let's not fully condemn this dude, but like he really put us in a tough spot with the salary cap to the point where we had to release James Bradbury for no returns. Anyway, I will do a full unleashing of hell on that move and a lot more in another ep. Now we're up to May. Ray Liotta died. Oh boy. I feel like you see a lot of, my father passed when he was 56. I'm now going to be 42. So like the 50s are right around the corner. And it's like, I haven't treated my body that well, but I feel like I'm doing okay. I think my expectant, I don't know what survey or test I took online, but it was like 83 is like where I'm at right now. So I'm about halfway there. Q Bon Jovi. But yeah, Ray Liotta died, which sucks. But man, I remember seeing him in like, what was it, Hubie Halloween or something like that. And I was just like, what are you, what's your regimen look like? What's your daily routine? What's your skin routine like? So that was sad. I went and saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in early May and, was not completely disappointed, but Jesus, man. You're talking about a multiverse of madness with a title like that. You got to bring the motherfucking thunder. And I think it fell somewhat short of expectations. Not to say it was a complete bust. I didn't. Maybe I'm missing something, and I'm not a huge comic book nerd, but I didn't like this America Ferrara. Was it her name's America, right? Or something. And it's just like she has lesbian moms, and I don't know. It was just like, okay, this feels forced. And it was usually with the MCU, you have some kind of like lead into it, like she was, you'll see that a lot of times with new characters, like they'll introduce them in like a minor role in another way, like Black Widow in Iron Man 2, or, not the best example, but something along those lines. Where it's like, okay, we know that Sam Wilson is gonna, spoiler alert, Sam Wilson's gonna be Captain America. We'll introduce him in this Captain America, and then we'll slowly build. He'll become the Falcon, and then just stuff like that. And then this was just like, all right, here's America. She's got 2 lesbian moms, to multiverse, and it's just like, what? I don't, and I liked how they have teased some things with What If. Like I was huge on What If. I liked that series a lot. I think it opened a lot of doors, and I think it messed with a lot of minds, which I appreciated. Like, what if this happened? And then you start to see that was a What If episode, was the Doctor Strange, in another universe, there's an evil Doctor Strange, and meeting him, and, what if Doctor Strange what became obsessed with saving Christine, is it his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, dies and like tries to bring her back from the dead, and like, so that they teased that was the What If episode. And so I thought they were gonna like, oh no, are they gonna like now do the live action version of that in this movie? So it's cool how they kind of play with your expectations a little bit. But yeah, there was some really great cameos in that movie, and it's interesting that they released it like right before Mother's Day, because I think it's weirdly enough like a Mother's Day movie. It's about a mom. When you come down to it, it's about a mom. More school shootings in May, and of course that was like the subject du jour when I went down. So I went down with Bree twice to South Carolina in May. From the 18th to 22nd, and then 25th to the 30th for Memorial Day weekend. There was like, we flew down, flew back. She was with her mom for 2 days, and then we flew back down to South Carolina. The flights were fairly affordable. I wouldn't have mind driving, but I have to say, when I did drive back overnight on Easter or from Easter weekend, I could have very easily been hospitalized. There was a couple times, and it was not until the kind of towards the end, when you're getting towards sunrise, that it happened where it's just like, oh, I guess street racers, like that's prime street racing time or something. Cause it's like, I almost got taken out 2 or 3 times, really close to getting taken out, where it's like, I'm going the speed limit or slightly above the speed limit and I'm going to change lanes. And the Mazda CX-V has the lane assists or blind spot detection type thing. So you throw it on the blinker and it'll beep if there's a car in your blind spot or in the next lane. And you're going fast, or someone else is going fast when you put on the blinker and that thing doesn't come on and you go into the next lane, you're halfway in the lane and you just hear and like a horn. That's a horn, but also like a revved up engine, a tuned engine, a modded car. And that happened a couple of times. It was just like, that person has to be going well over 100 miles per hour. I almost got rear-ended several times. So that was a little scary. I was like, I was okay. It's just you got to start worrying about the people around you, I guess. And of course, Stranger Things season 4 finally came out. So I don't think that it's been 3 years, right? Like the last one was 2019, I think, season 3. And it's getting to the point where, I was getting to the point where it was like, this can't be worth it. Okay. It cannot be worth it to wait this long for this fucking series. It's this, and paying the $20 a month for Netflix. I don't think it's worth it. It can't be worth it. And then season 4 comes out and you watch it all and you're like, worth it. God damn it. They did it again. The Duffers, they done did it again. I mean, I tweeted this. I was in fucking tears for pretty much half this. I mean, the finale that came out July 4th weekend, the second half was just all not just tugging, yanking on the heartstrings, yanking, son. And I could not stop crying. Could not stop crying. It was just like, oh, they just kept like fucking ducked punch. So I'm excited for season 5, and that will come out 2 years from now. Holy damn gosh darn. 2 years I gotta wait again. But that's gonna be the final season, and got a feeling that it's gonna be electric. It's gonna be so good. It is weird seeing the kids, like you get kind of ensconced in season 4. First of all, you start season 4 and you're like, whoa, okay, they're older. Like I kind of knew that was gonna happen. Aging is a process. It happens. Time moves forward. I get it. But then you kind of get used to it and you're like, okay, this is how they look. And I don't even notice it anymore. And then they do a flashback to like the first season. You're like, oh my God, I've watched these kids grow up in front of my eyes. I feel like they're dad. I'm your uncle. I'm your dad. I'm your dunkle. But Millie Bobby Brown is just like, oh, okay. All right, Millie. Okay. Now read into that what you will. I'm just saying she's like a full-blown adult now, for crying out loud. Like, you save the world 3 or 4 times in a row, you're an adult. You're not 14. Sorry, not sorry. Top Gun Maverick came out, and I gotta tell you, I never had seen Top Gun from start to finish before. Just never got around to it, which is crazy because I've now realized that I've quoted Top Gun, the original Top Gun, so many goddamn times in my life, not knowing that it's from Top Gun. Negative Ghost Rider, the pattern is full. Do you understand how many times I've said that to people? And if they said, what's that from? I'd be like, couldn't tell you. Negative Ghost Rider, the pattern is full. And I know that I went to high school with some guys that were obsessed with it, that could just word for word quote the entire movie. And it's just like, I just never was into it. And then I was like, if I'm going to go see Top Gun Maverick, because I saw like the reviews were awesome. And I keep seeing Miles Tellers all over my freaking timeline, even though I don't follow him. And I was like, all right, I have a good feeling about this. And of course I tried to buy tickets to it, and it was like Friday sold out, Saturday sold out. And this is not opening weekend. Friday sold out, Saturday sold out, Sunday sold out, Monday sold out. I was just like, holy shit. And then, so I was like, all right, I'm going to go see it. I finally got tickets. And then I was like, I got to see the first one start to finish for once. And not disappointed at all. Really, a great movie. I just don't know why I never invested the time in it. Like what was holding me back? What couldn't I, you know what it was? It was like I don't want to say the arrogance, but like the complete over the topness of the people who did really like it and watched it and were quoting it. That was like, and this goes back, I've mentioned this multiple times. If everyone else is in on it and super all about it, it makes me less into it. I don't know why. It's a defect. It is a factory defect. It is something that is not a standard issue. And love to know why that part of my brain decides to go there. But anytime it's like everyone's like, and I'm on the outside and I didn't get to experience it with that group, and that group is all about it. It's just like, I'm going to take about 1,000 steps back. Sorry. And now I regret it because I could have been part of that crew, dude. Talk to me, Goose. I mean, Jesus, but I was a little distracted by Tom Cruise's teeth. You can tell like he's like self-conscious about it when he smiles. He's kind of got that little, I'm not going to do the full, like, I'm not going to fully cheese it. I'm just going to like side grin it and a little, but he was awesome. Iceman was awesome. Goose was awesome. Didn't completely just either forgot or maybe blocked it out that Meg Ryan was in this goddamn movie and looking super tight. Just a all around great job. And I love Top Gun Maverick even more than the original. As much as I've had my reservations about Miles Teller. I don't know why. I don't know what my beef is with Miles Teller. I don't know. Because the more I hear about him and the more I get to know him, it's like the more I'm starting to like kind of like him / love him. Is that a thing? Like, is that really happening right now? But the scene where he gets on the piano at the bar, I've never seen a fucking neck like that in my life. Like, and he doesn't come across as like he's not like The Rock. Like, he's not come across like Chris Hemsworth, like a massive bodybuilder type dude. But when he is like in the tank top with the Hawaiian button down over it and just fucking rocking out on the piano, like the ugh. It was just like, no thanks. You and me going mano a mano? Pass. You win. I forfeit. He just looked like just yoked out of his gourd. And of course, Tom Cruise still looks great. Although it's interesting because I feel like these studios are pulling like the Irishman type thing on us. If you've seen The Irishman on Netflix, where it's like there's definitely some like deep faking digital shit going on. Because like there was a clip in front of the movie before the movie started, they had Tom Cruise come on screen and he's like, "Hey, just wanted to thank you for supporting us. We've put a lot of time and effort into this." And you're looking at it and I was like, "Oh, okay. Time, huh? She's a bitch." So yeah, Tom Cruise definitely looks, I mean, he's 60 now. So yeah, he looked his age in that clip, little preamble before the movie. But then in the movie, you're like, how the fudge is this guy 60? And then Jennifer Connelly's in it. And it's like, I don't know how Jennifer Connelly is. I feel like she's closer to age to me. Maybe that's not right. And then I get caught on that trap of like trying to do the math in my head instead of just, hey, the disbelief that's hanging around? You want to go ahead and suspend it? You want to suspend it? You want to ban it from your brain for a little bit? Because I'm thinking like Tom Cruise was probably like 24, maybe in 86. It's 36. He's now 60. 60 minus 36 would be 24. Yeah. So he was 24 in that movie, and he was talking about a girl named Penny with Meg Ryan, remember? And they were like, oh, the general's daughter or whatever, colonel's daughter that he was talking about. He mentions Penny. Well, that Penny is in this movie, Top Gun Maverick, and it's Jennifer Connelly. And I'm like, Penny, like Jennifer Connelly's not 60. Because like in, what the hell is that? Requiem for a Dream. She was in Requiem for a Dream. That was what, 2001? You're telling me I was 20 when that came out. 2021. I figured that she was, I don't know why, I just assumed that she was maybe my age. But say she was like 30 in that movie. That would make her like 2 now, which in Top Gun, the original, if Tom Cruise is 24 minus, so she's 16. Yeah, there's something not clicking there. Anyway, you wonder why I'm divorced. Why would anyone want to hang out with this? Anyway, so that was May. And then June, I started the new job. I'm working for a company called Donut Media, a top YouTube channel. They publish videos about cars, and it's mostly for like mechanics or car guys, tuners, modifiers, tuners, right? So it's been tremendously educational, and it's like now I find myself when I'm driving around just like looking at cars and trying to like see the brand and the make and the model and like how they maneuver and handle, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I made the mistake of telling them what I drive. And I was like, oh, well, I think I just, I've been here a week and now I'm dead to them officially. Cool. But it's been good. It's been fun. And now it's definitely got me, pun intended, revved up about like, maybe I would like to do some track time. Like, can I just rent a muscle car and just like have at it on a track? Like, is that a thing? Because I might be into it. I ended up seeing Jurassic World Dominion in June as well as Top Gun Maverick. And oh boy. That's tough. How do you make a dinosaur movie? Not just a dinosaur movie. Let's just Tarantino that a little bit. How do you make a Jurassic Park movie? And the bulk of the movie focuses on fucking locusts. Spoiler alert, locusts. Jiminy goddamn cricket. Like, how do you do that? Who signed off on that? You're trying to shoe wedge this story about climate change and about crops and about genetified food. And I get it. Those are all hot button topics right now, but come on, there are dinosaurs in the real world. And they kind of touched on that in the beginning of the movie. Like, okay, there's the death rate by dino and, stuff like that. But at the same time, dude, that's the main plot. Fucking locusts. And they get more screen time than dinosaurs. I mean, that's a federal crime. It's punishable by death. That's the only way I can put that. So yeah, not a great end to that trilogy. Had promise at the beginning. We finally got to see the park open with real dinosaurs and real guests. And we finally get to see them, how that devolves into the real world. And then we get locusts. Ugh. And it was like if Spielberg had helmed this, I have the utmost confidence that this dude would be able to pull off a bunch of hair-raising, spine-tingling, chilling, emotional moments, like gravitas out the anus. And instead, it's like, because there are all these moments where they're supposed to hit hard, and it's like, okay, this is, the original cast coming back and reuniting, and like that's supposed to be a big moment. And it just felt kind of, we're still talking about this clone girl. The clone girl, the clone girl, was a misfire for me. I just couldn't. I want to care about human cloning and like you being the key and all that and that storyline, but like it just was not clicking for me. Just like the locusts were not clicking for me. Like, what about? I don't know. Father's Day was cool. It was definitely cool. I had Brie. And we had donuts with dads at school. So when I dropped her off that Friday, go in and they had donuts and all that ready. And it was fun, but it was also like, what is going on here? What is going on? I mean, I sat down, we get donuts. I have to sit at the kids' table. So I'm on this. First of all, I think I'm deathly afraid that this little tiny ass chair is going to break underneath my fat ass. And as I'm eating with her and enjoying the time, I'm like, all right, this is not so bad. And I see this girl, a goddamn terrorist, who goes up to another girl, bites her on the arm. And then as the teacher's like trying to like wrangle her in, like maybe scolds her and then leaves her be, she proceeds to go over to this kid who's just sitting normally, peacefully, couch or chair, and like cocks her fist and cold clocks this kid. Just like rams like full on haymaker into this kid's orbital bone structure, like right in the iris, with his dad there. Like this kid had no like, oh, is that your dad? Pussy. And then just like Rocky Balboa. Unreal. And then the teacher's like, whoa, we don't hit. Say you're sorry. We don't hit. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I understand that they're very young, 3 years old. I would immediately take that kid by the goddamn wrist and drag her to the director's office and be like, call her parents right now and get them to the school. She cannot be here anymore. Like, cannot be here anymore today. And then I'd be like, send her to obedience school. And then when she's all obedient, come back and we'll welcome her with open arms. But like the way they handled it was just like, what? This kid is a one-woman wrecking crew. So that was an eye-opener. I was there for like less than 30 minutes, and it was just chaos. They had donuts at school. I got donuts from this place called Donut Time in Hamilton, which is just phenomenal. They have the best donuts. Oh, which is, it's weird. This area like just doesn't have donuts for whatever reason. Dunkin' Donuts everywhere. But if you wanted like mom and pop donuts, this is the only place that is within a 15-mile radius, I feel like. And boy, do they hit the mark every time. So I'm working for Donut Media, eating donuts like crazy. And then my mom decides to like went on a kick where she just like, I just don't feel like she should be allowed to spend money on certain things sometimes. She got me like 2, maybe even 3 t-shirts with donuts on them. It's like, people are going to think I'm they already think I'm such a pathetic loser. And like to wear shirts with donuts on them. What are we doing? So yeah, that's fun. And then end of June, Bree had off that Friday, the 24th, because they were having their graduation ceremonies for kindergarten and pre-K. And I had work, and I couldn't take off work because in that first, you have that probationary period where the first 30 days or something like that, like just no dice. You have to wait, and so I couldn't take off. And so I had her here at the apartment while I'm trying to work. It's fully work from home, fully remote position, which is phenomenal. It's so nice. I can't describe how nice it is to not have to commute 3 to 4 hours a goddamn day into the city. Anyway, so I have a tendency to get in the zone. I think anyone who knows me knows that. Like I will be entranced. I will be sucked into whatever I'm doing full on to the point where like it could be World War III outside. And I'm just like, no, this spreadsheet ain't going to do the formulas itself, although it could. And I should learn how to do that. So there comes a point where like I'm working. And I finally like look down like, whoo, and I look to the left. And Bree is standing there in a leotard for gymnasts. Didn't know that we had that. And in one hand are a pair of scissors, and in the other hand is a fistful of hair. And my first question, right off the bat, right off the dome, was, "Is that your hair?" She had cut her own hair. Yeah, she had taken the scissors to her own hair, and that fistful was not the only hair that had come off. Had been separated from her head. I found hair all over the apartment. But, I have a picture of it and I haven't posted it yet, but you can't really tell. I mean, unless you're up close, I think it's like it's a nice little layered look. I think she's got a future as like a blowout artist at a salon. Not only that, but I told you how I went out to dinner with some friends. So that was Friday the 24th. She cuts off her hair. I have dinner with my friends. I drop her off at her mother's that afternoon because her mom had her that weekend. I go to dinner with my friends. Saturday, Sunday, I think I went to the driving range, which I've been doing a lot of, and I'm not getting better. And Monday comes around, and maybe it was even Tuesday, and I go in the fridge and I like grab a seltzer. I grab something. I was like, this feels warm. Why isn't this cold? And then I open the freezer and it's like everything's thawed out. And I'm like, did the power go out? When did the power go out? And I'm looking at the microwave. I'm looking at anything that would indicate that the power's gone out, and there's no indication. And so eventually I look, and the fridge had been, the dial, like coldest to not coldest. It was on not coldest. So there's 1 to 5, 5 being coldest, 1 being not cold at all. And like it just, the knob had been turned to 1. And I'm like, don't remember doing that. And so now all fingers pointing to that little devil, my 3-year-old daughter. Whew, tell you, expecting parents, if it's quiet, shit done gone wrong. And that's what happened. Cut off her own hair, found a gymnast leotard somehow, and turned off the fridge. And I had to get rid of just about a full fridge worth of food. So that was cool. And then here we are in July. James Caan died. That sucked. I didn't know he was Jewish. That's crazy. He was in The Godfather, so I just always assumed like he's in Italian, like a quarter of me is. And he's not, but I hate when these celebrities die, because you always see the best stories and memories from people about them after they die. And it's like, well, that would have been nice for that dude to hear while he was with us, would have been cool. Like, but I get it. You got to celebrate the life. That's what we do when someone passes. We celebrate their life. Just like, it would be nice to know all that stuff and for him to be part of that. That's why I think if it would be cool if, like, when you die, you get to be alive for your funeral and you get to say goodbye at your funeral, and that's that. Like, that should be like, can we make an exception there? Death. Oh, Reaps. Oh, Grim. Can we just like do a little extension? Just be like, oh, well, technically you're dead. You died, but here's your send off. And of course, Brielle's school was closed again on Friday the 1st. Those back-to-back Fridays where I had to have her here at the apartment when I had work. And, this time was not as bad. It wasn't as bad. And I did get to sign off of work fairly early, like 4:00, which was cool. We ended up going to the pool, which this pool, I'll get into it in another episode, but the pool's a whole thing. It's a whole situation. But we usually go out to, every Friday, we go out to dinner and we get burger and fries. There are plenty of places around here that burger and fries. I have a nice little rotation going where it's like every 2 weeks, hit up a different burger joint. And it's like I'm taking her to the Ritz. And I wish I knew a better name of a fancier restaurant. Like, I'm taking her to like Ruth's Chris. Is that even a fancy restaurant? No. But she loves it every time, even though she never eats her burger. She just eats the fries with the ketchup. It's like, why do we even get the cheeseburger? Well, I want a burger. Okay, cool. And then we always get ice cream at Thomas Sweet. Like, there's no ice cream in this area. I think I mentioned that. So there's no donuts, mom and pop donuts in the area, and there's no mom and pop ice cream in the area. We made the mistake of going to a Baskin Robbins that was attached to a Dunkin' Donuts once. And it was like, oof, how do you have a huge cardboard cutout display promoting this new ice cream flavors with these cool cups, and you go to and you order it, and then he's like, no, we don't have any of that. It's like weird, because not only do you have the cardboard cutout display, it's on every one of your TVs. I'm looking at it, and you're promoting the ish out of this stuff. You don't have it? I guess job well done. Mission accomplished. But Thomas Sweet in Princeton is on Nassau Street in Princeton, a good time. I always get the double blend in with Nutella, brownies, and Reese's peanut butter cups, because I am obese. And we played around with some different flavors, but she's been sticking with the birthday cake, which is her mom's favorite ice cream. So I know what I'm getting into. I know exactly what's going to happen here. I'm raising a Cassandra. I'm raising my ex-wife. We found out very quickly that Nassau Street and Princeton does not have any public restrooms, because it always, without fail, we go out to dinner. And as soon as we get to the ice cream place, no, not as soon as we get to the ice cream place, we'll get to the ice cream place. We stand in line. We'll stand in line. We'll stand in line. We'll be the next people up to order. And she'll be like, I gotta go potty. And it's like, no. And trying to like, before I figured out how to maneuver that situation and massage it, that was tough, because it was like I just figured there in my, having lived in Hoboken or worked in the city for so long, it's like there's a restroom on every corner of every street. There's no shortage of restrooms. But not so much in suburbia, not so much on Nassau Street in Princeton. There are zero public restrooms. And the restaurant, so the ice cream place that we go to, Thomas Sweet, doesn't have a restroom. And then you go to, I would go to a Froyo place, and it was like they had locks on the door. In order to unlock the door, you needed to have a code from the cashier or the clerk who gives you the code when you order something. It's like, okay. And I remember one of the first times that happened, just walked into an Indian restaurant, and it was like the host or hostess had like gone on a smoke break, and we just snuck into a bathroom and did our thing, came back out, and they came back from their break and saw us, and they gave us a stink eye, and I was like, she's 3, 0 bladder control, dude. Be glad that she made it into the restroom, into the toilet. And then I realized that I have a portable plastic potty type thing, 2 of them. that I think my sister gave me. And so I now plopped that back in the back of the Mazda, the trunk. And we had to use that one time. But that was even a fiasco because I made the mistake. Well, when school's in session, because that's right by Princeton University. So when school is in session, so September, August to May-ish, it's like there's people everywhere and there's almost zero parking, and it's on the street parking. It's metered parking. And the one time I just could not find a spot. I had to park all the way down towards like a major intersection of like whatever. And so we walk to Thomas Sweet. There's a line around the corner. We walk to there's another Thomas Sweet or something like that. Another ice cream place. Walk to that, line out the corner. Finally wait in line for Thomas, the original Thomas Sweet. Wait. Next in line, we're 2 away from ordering. I got to go potty. It's like, oh, here we go. So we had to walk. Well, I was like, can you hold it? Can you be a big girl and hold it? Because that's like the ultimate peer pressure move for a parent with a girl. Is it's like it's the equivalent of you won't saying, well, can you be a big girl? Can you be a big girl? Because like when you throw that out there, it's like, oh shit, he's challenging my bigness and my girlness. So I gotta like step up. And so she held it, but it was we had to order, and then we had to like beeline it for the back of the car. And so, pop the trunk, and then she goes potty. And of course, like there's cars going by and people walking by, and it's just like, she doesn't care and I don't care. But, after you wipe the child, Neal, and you throw it in the plastic bag, maybe you should take the plastic bag and throw that out. So but once June comes and July, so June and July, early August, not as bad. Plenty of parking. They actually have music outside, which is nice. We sit outside and, there's a band playing, musician playing. And then we discovered if we walk a little bit more towards campus, there's like this cool water fountain, like art sculpture water fountain. And of course, the first time we went there, my anxiety was like, couldn't be beat, was on fire. Just 5 alarms. It was El Diablo sauce, like skateboarders everywhere, which for some reason that caused me to be on hyper aware mode, where it's just like, I need to know where the skateboarders are at all times. Why? I don't know. But like, so there's the skateboarders everywhere, and like there's people walking around in the fountain. Because it's not like one of those wishing well fountains that you see at the mall where it's like you're actually not allowed in the fountain, and then you can throw your coin in there, blah, blah, wish granted. This is like a huge shallow pool, almost similar to what you would see in DC, where the fucking monument or memorial is, whatever, Lincoln Memorial, Washington Monument. Kind of like that shallow wading pool, but like, I don't know if people are allowed on that in DC, but they are in Princeton apparently. And so I was like, I don't know if that's street legal. Like, I don't know what the etiquette is here. Like, I see people going in. But then I was like, we don't have towels to dry off. Blah, blah, blah. So I was very vehemently against it. And she was pretty upset about that. But then we went back this most recent time we went back there, and she's like, can I put my feet in? I was like, yeah, you can just put your feet in. You just put your feet in. And then like immediately belly flops, swan dives into the pool. So she was like walking back through town, like especially by Thomas Sweet, where we just had ice cream, and still seeing the people that we saw before. Like the band is now like at a table, like, chatting it up. And there's like all these people that were still eating their ice cream, and seeing us walk by with me fully dry and her sopping wet. It's like, whoa, what the hell happened? It's like, I'm a good dad, I promise. And then we went to a festival, the LEAD festival, Law Enforcement Against Drugs. And I know when I tell my friends that, they're like, well, did they know that? How did they let you in? Like, what? How did they, what? And so I bought an all-day pass for each of us, right? All-day pass, like $35 a pop. Not too bad. Unlimited rides, not unlimited games, which really did me in. Because that's all she wanted to do, was to play the games. That's all she wanted to do. All she wanted to do. So I went to the ATM. I get out $120. And the one game, so we're walking around, she sees like fish bowls. And I was like, she's like, oh, I want to play this. I was like, okay. So we play it, and I don't even know. I'm not even paying attention. I'm just like, there are fish bowls, and we got ping pong balls, and we get to toss the ping pong balls towards the fish bowls, and we get the ping pong ball in the fish bowl. We win a prize. And I was like, okay, cool. Sounds cool. Stuffed animal. I get it. Awesome. And of course, we're throwing. She's like Rick Wild Thing Vaughn with the ping pong ball, just like give her the heater, Ricky, and like firing these things off the fish bowls, and like I'm arcing it and lofting it, and eventually I get one in. I was like, oh wow, cool. What did we win? A goldfish, a live goldfish. No, honey, not the goldfish that you eat on a regular basis. A live actual goldfish. And I was like, oh fuck. So then the rest of the time, I'm like, well, I try to like talk to the carny, which, you see carnies in TVs, series and movies, and you're like, they're not really like that in real life. And it's like, no, they are. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a reason for the season. So she talks me in and she goes, well, we don't give you the goldfish now. When you're leaving, we'll give you a plush toy and a chip. And then when you come back, when you're leaving, you just bring that up, you show it to us, and we'll give you the goldfish and the tank. And I'm like, okay. So for the rest of the day, I'm thinking to myself, she's 3. I don't think she's even going to remember that we won a goldfish. She hasn't like said anything about it. I bet if we just left with this plush toy and the chip, that would be enough for her. But I was like, I can do this. I eventually talked myself into it. I was like, I can do this. All right. Suck it up, Neal. It's a freaking goldfish. You can take care of it. And I took it as a challenge, and I was like, I could do this. How hard could it be? Well, yeah, it's hard taking care of a fish. Fish are probably the least easy pet to take care of, because we ended up leaving. We went on a bunch of rides. She went on the Spider-Man ride 3 times. She went on all kinds of rides. There were some rides that she was not tall enough for, which was disappointing. But then there were rides she was tall enough for, but she was like, that's too scary. And I was like, okay, I get it, I think. And we did another game where like you shoot the water cannon into the hole, and we won a stuffed animal there, stuffed elephant, which was nice. It fell apart almost immediately. Weird that happens. And there was another game called Bank-a-Ball, which that is the biggest ripoff. $10 to play. You get like 3 plastic wiffle balls. There's a stop sign and a plastic laundry basket underneath it. And the guy's like doing his damnedest to help me, because he sees I have a 3-year-old daughter, and he's like, listen, this is all you have to do. Go as close to the awning or whatever, the barrier wall as you can. You can lean over as much as you can. And then you want to lightly toss it with some top spin and just have it gently hit the stop sign into the plastic basket. And he must have done it. He did it every freaking time that he threw the ball. It was every freaking time, just like whoop, whoop. He didn't miss. And I was like, all right, this seems fair enough. And of course, Bree is just all ones, all, we're going fastball. So she's like chucking it off the stop sign and not getting it in. And so I did what he told me, lean over and lightly do it. And I couldn't do it. $10. I can't believe how quickly money can disappear. And I think carnival games has to be at the top of the list. Has to be. You talk about like gambling, like poker, blackjack. Okay, maybe. No, carnival games. I gave him $10. We had lost and we're done within a minute. I mean, that's like, anyway. So we do our thing. We go around. We were there for like 3 hours. It was pretty long. She didn't get too scared on any of the rides except the NASCAR ride for some reason. And I can tell you why. 2 things. It whips around. So it's just an oval track. On both ends where the curves, it whips her around. So I don't think she was a big fan of that. But then you have this big, humongous dude, a carny, who's singing and humming and doing weird songs. The weird, creepy songs. Like, I understand he's trying to excite the kids and make it better for them. But like, I think she just picked up on it. And she's like, you probably have some bodies in the basement, huh? Let's talk about it. You got some bodies in the basement? He was creeping me out. I know that for sure. I was like, I can't imagine like being on that ride, getting whipped around and seeing that fat fuck just being like, what? Superman? This is a NASCAR. What? This is a NASCAR ride. Anyway, so we go at the end of the day. Been there 3 hours. I was like, fuck it, we're getting this goldfish. Go to the goldfish stand, hand it in. She's like, okay, so don't give it unfiltered water. If you do have unfiltered water, you want to get a filter, and you want to put the bag in the tank for at least 20 minutes. Blah blah blah, and she's like giving me, just rattling off, rapid fire, all these things I got to do, and I'm just like, oh, I've messed up. I've really messed up here. And so then I look on the back of the plastic bag, and it's like, must be transferred to a permanent place within 4 hours. And I was like, oh, great. So then I go to PetSmart, and I go into PetSmart, and it's just like, there's just rows and rows, endless rows of things. And just like the fish section is just overflowing with options and stuff. And it's just like, I'm way out of my league here. Way out of my league. But I was like, all right, what do we need? Fish food. I know that much. And maybe I need something to clean the water, because even though I'm going to use filtered water from the Brita, there's something about like, oh, they got to acclimate and they got to make sure this and that and the other. And I was like, all right, fine. So I pick up like $30 worth of products. There's like they have like, there's a startup shelf, and then a maintenance shelf, and then a performance shelf. And I was like, is this motherfucking thing a car? Am I buying a car or a goldfish? So I got this kit that has all three things. It's got like aquarium salt and like other things. There was one like a like stress reliever type liquid. And I was like, all right, whatever, dude. This goldfish is going to be living in the lap of goddamn luxury. I go home. I bag in the tank. I didn't leave it in for 20 minutes. So that was my first mistake. I didn't buy a filter. Second mistake. I feed it fish food. It's swimming around. I dropped the aquarium salt in there. I Bree's helping me, so she's doing it. I'm dropping all these things in there, and I feel like the man. I'm like, oh, you know what? This goldfish is going to be alive when you graduate college. I am that confident about this. And the starter tank that they give you, by the way, is smaller than a shoebox. And then after all this went down, I learned that this fish actually needed a huge goddamn aquarium that was like 20 liters or gallons, whichever one's more. So we went to this party on Sunday the 3rd that was in Pearl River, New York, which is an hour and a half drive. And remember, so we feed the fish before we leave, and it's swimming around like life is grand. Isn't this cool? New digs, new environment. I'm digging this bedroom. It's a little kid. Hopefully she doesn't, pick me up and toss me, because that's, you got to make sure she understands. Please don't touch, just look. And we get back. So we left around 1, got back at 10. So that's 9 hours. We get back at 10. I'm like, all right, well, let's go feed the fish. And this fish, not moving a lot. Gills not moving, fins not moving. I don't know if they blink, but 0 blinks happening. And it's kind of just diagonal, but it's kind of just moving. It's somehow it's just diagonal, and it's like freeze frame, like just paused. And it looks like it's just staring at the bottom of the aquarium. And I'm like, not great, but maybe they sleep with their eyes open. So I said that to Brie. I was like, he's probably sleeping. They probably just sleep with their eyes open. Or maybe we got the one that sleeps with their eyes open. We got the creepy one. Yeah, that makes sense. And so we feed the fish food. And I was like, yeah, probably just sleeping, right? And then the morning comes, and, hasn't moved. Hasn't eaten any of the fish food. And I decided to like stick my finger in there and poke it. And she's like, you're not supposed to touch. And I'm like, I know, but like I'm allowed because this is an emergency situation. And so I poke and like not moving. And I'm like, okay, great. So Bree, her mother came to pick her up because she had her for July 4th. We have a really weird holiday schedule. And then I go to examine the fish some more. And I'm like, this fish is donezo. Like I put in some more of the drops or whatever. I tried to like dump some of the water out because I thought like maybe that was it. Like I wasn't giving it enough headspace or oxygen or whatever. And nope, by the time afternoon came around, it was like belly up right at the surface. And I felt like absolute dog manure. I was like, oh, I just murdered a goldfish. Cool. Unintentional, but like probably could have avoided it. And of course I waited. And now that the fish is dead, now I'm doing all the research. Like, oh, I needed a filter. I needed a bigger tank. I needed to, acclimate the fish. And it like the amount of care that you have to put into taking care of a fish can't be worth it. It cannot be worth it. And I remember I talked to my mom about it. We had a fish tank like when we lived in Hopewell when I was in high school. And I guess I must have missed this part, but my dad was like constantly cleaning it and taking care of those damn fish. So, it's whew. So now I'm thinking, and so I just told Bree, like, you know what? Because I had to pick her up on Wednesday, and so she was like, "Where's the fish?" And I was like, he really missed his mommy and daddy, big time. So I took him back. He just missed them so much that I had to take him back. And meanwhile, it's like I have to dispose of this dead fish, and it's like you always see in movies and TV shows, like they flush them down the toilet. Well, apparently that's not kosher anymore. Thanks, Obama. And so I drained the tank and I put the fish in a plastic bag and I put it in the garbage. And I was like, I'm probably taking the garbage out soon, right? So I take the garbage out, I throw it out, and then I noticed that like the garbage can kind of smells. But I was like, all right, I'll just clean it later. Like it's probably nothing. It's probably just remnants, leftover stank from the previous bag, maybe. But then I just had to take out the garbage today. I take out the garbage and I put it out, I put the bag out in the hallway, and then I come back and I was like, all right, maybe I should, this still stinks for some reason. I'm going to clean it this time. I really got to clean it now. So I go to take the wipe and I go to clean it and I look down and there's a dead fish at the bottom of the garbage can in a pool of dirty water, just disgusting dead fish water. And I was like, wow, so that's been here for a full week. Cool. I've had a dead fish in dead fish water in the bottom of my garbage can. Cool. So I had to take the garbage can and walk it into the woods, away from the building, away from the basketball courts, and just chuck it and be like, but then I chucked it and I come back and now I'm starting to think, I think I might have just murdered any of the animals that come to eat that thing, because that thing is not clean and fresh. That's not fresh sushi. That's not the daily lunch special at Ichiban. That's been a dead fish for a week. So whatever eats that, you're dead too. So now I've killed officially more than one animal this past week. So I'm feeling really good about myself. But the party in Pearl River was good. It was bittersweet because I'm like the only divorcee in that crew. And two of the other parents, two couples, they just had a baby within the past year-ish to 2 years, pandemic babies, which that's a pretty good indicator. And I talked about that in the last pod. Like that's a pretty good indicator if you're going to make it, is if in the pandemic you had a baby. Like that's a damn good indicator that you're going to make it. So it was interesting to see, like, well, the mom trades off with the dad, and the dad spends time with the baby, and then the mom spends time with the baby, and then they talk about their home that they're renovating, and it's like their plans and their family plans. And another couple is expecting, the friend was pregnant. They're due in October, and it was just like, yeah, I remember all this when there was hope. Remember hope? It's just such a great memory of having hope. Being like, oh, well, that's where the kids are going to play and grow up, and that's where they're going to go to school, and this is what's going to happen. And then the gods descend upon high and are like, fuck you, Neal. Suck a dick. But it was a good party. There's a lot of good food. Might have got a food poisoning there. I'm not sure. I've had like stomach issues all freaking week. So that could be a thing where I got it there, or it could be the undercooked burger I had on Monday or Tuesday. I'm not sure, because I'd had the stumblies and the rumblies and the grumblies in my old gut all freaking week. And there was a good 4-day stretch where it was like no solids coming out of the butt. TMI? TMI. Yeah. That's probably a good time to cut it, right? Thanks for listening. That's been another episode of Giant Mess. Adios, muchachos.